There are people right now who basically think that they're qualified to rule this world and, create a global government where basically they call the shots and put an end to all the different nation states and have a one world government, the new world order, right?
Yeah.
Now, are these good people or bad people?
I think that sounds like a good plan to me.
Yeah, but they're evil people because of the fact that by nature, evil people are drawn to positions of power. Evil people like to control other people and be in positions of power. Well, okay.
Also, good people do too.
But here's the thing:
right?
you're making a face about it. But let's look around the world today.
True.
Let's look around the world at all the world leaders. Okay, are most of them good or most of them bad? Okay.
Yeah.
Because evil people, they love to gravitate toward these positions where they get all this glory and where they can play God and manipulate people. I personally, am libertarian leaning in my political views because I believe in as minimal a government as possible, because I feel like whenever the government does anything, they screw it up. And the more power you give them, the more things are going to be screwed up. And the most totalitarian and authoritarian governments throughout history have been the most screwed up places. And the place where there was the most freedom were the places where things went well. These engineered economies, these planned economies, and you look at communist China, Soviet Union, they wanted to succeed, right? They wanted to be the superpowers. They wanted to be greater than the United States. But did it work? No, because when you tamper with God's plan, you screw it up. And whether it's the 5-year plan of Stalin or the Great Leap Forward, oh yeah, we're going to fix everything, we're going to organize everybody, but they screwed it up. People are starving to death by the millions. It all fell apart. Whereas when you give people freedom and let things basically just happen organically according to God's design, then people are able to feed themselves and things are able to go well. So this idea of a global government, well, think about this. What if you lived in a country...
A government run by the people, though. A global government run by the people.
A government run by the people? Which people? Democracy?
All of us.
You know
direct
what democracy is? Direct democracy is the worst form of government, because democracy is two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner, number one. And number two is that most people are stupid. So why would you put the majority in charge when the majority is idiots? Okay, so what I believe the best form of government is an extremely minimal government, as little government as possible.
Almost like anarchy, but just a little bit of police.
Some people call it minarchy.
Minarchy.
I don't even believe in police.
Okay.
That might be shocking to you.
That's yeah.
But I get my views from the Bible, and in the biblical model, when God set up the Old Testament nation of Israel, they did not have police. Basically, what they had is the citizens were the police in a sense. Everyone's armed, and basically there are judges. But that's a whole nother topic. That's very deep to go into all that. But my point being is that let's say you live in a country where things are really bad. You're living in the Soviet Union. You're living in North Korea. You're living in communist China. Well, your goal is to get out of there and go somewhere better. Right? That's why a lot of people are leaving Mexico and coming up here, because things aren't as good down there and they want to get up here where things are a little bit better, right? And it makes sense. If I were living in a messed up place, but here's the problem with this global government. When it goes bad, there's nowhere to go. Think about that. You got nowhere to flee to. Why did our ancestors come over to the United States in the first place? To get out of Europe. They didn't like the way things were going over there. They wanted freedom. They wanted to start over somewhere. Well, if everybody's under the same government and it goes bad, which it inevitably will, like every government always goes bad, well, then there's nowhere to go. You're stuck in it. It becomes a prison planet.
But how do you stop all the the criminals and
stuff without
police and government?
I'm not trying to stop all that stuff. I'm not God. And here's the thing, when the government tries to stop that stuff, it gets worse. Because you're like, man, we got to step in and fix this. Okay, what about when the government steps in and wants to end the drug problem? What do? Make it worse? Yeah. Oh, we're going to stop crime. They make it worse.
I have to agree with you on that one. But I do want a big
The war on drugs is a failure. What about the war on poverty? We got to end poverty. You're going to let all these people starve to death? So we're going to have, the Great Society and all these welfare programs. What have they created? More poverty. I mean, look, go to the ghettos and see all the derelicts and people that don't work and all the crime and the misery and the suffering in these places. And a lot of it is created by government programs. Those people's ancestors, many of them were hardworking people, good people, nice people. Mm-hmm. Now you see a bunch of criminals and derelicts and so forth. Mm-hmm. Why? Because they grew up where nobody's working. They're on welfare and whatever. So the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and people have we're going to end poverty, we're going to end suffering, and they end up creating more poverty, more suffering.
Yeah.
Look how it backfires. They make drugs illegal, more people are on drugs.
Yeah.